Yeah, Shalom. Going back to where I left off at in the part one of the volume three. Apparently, I was reading out the book of Enoch, the Ethiopian Enoch. Apparently, there's another Enoch, okay, which is called R.H. Charles. The book of Enoch from the Apocrypha and Pseudepigraphia of the Old Testament, R.H. Charles. Now, the book of Enoch in the Ethiopian version, chapter 69, is not equivalent to the Old Testament R.H. Charles, the R.H. Charles version of the book of Enoch, which I think was from the early 1900s, which I'm going to get into a little bit of that later on. But to the point what I was making with these, whether it be the R.H. Charles version or the Ethiopian Enoch. I was reading from the Ethiopian Enoch before, chapter 40. What I was talking about, I read in the chapter 69 version, the chapter 69 of the R.H. Charles book of Enoch, concerning Eve and these angels that deceived and caused a fallen man. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down to chapter 69 because it says something different than the Ethiopian Enoch, which they argue is the original source of Enoch. But this just goes to show you an example of the Gentiles, which they'll take a word from a holy man of the Lord, then they put their ideas into it and consider it to be a valid doctrine or the valid word of the Lord. So maybe the Ethiopian Enoch, which I believe is to be the original concept of any alleged book of Enoch, maybe it was what you call this one? It was somewhat paraphrased or somewhat plagiarized by the early 1900 version, because it says something totally different. But I may be a little ignorant on that part. I'm gonna do some more research on that. But as I'm just scrolling down here in chapter 69 of the R.H. Charles version of Enoch, okay, it does have these names I was speaking of, which was Javon and Gabriel, not Gabriel, but Gabriel. And I'm going to read it to get to the point, because this is a very long chapter. Verses 1 through 15 is very long. No homo on that. It says, after this judgment, they shall terrify and make them to tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth. And behold, the names of those angels these are their names. The first of them is Samjazah, the second Artaquifa, and the third Armin, the fourth Kakabel. This is not in the Bible. Okay, that's not in the scriptures, but the fifth Tuarel, the sixth Rumjah, the seventh Danjal, the eighth Nequel, the ninth Barquel, the 10th Azazel, the 11th Amaros, the 12th Batayal, the 13th Basajal, the 14th Hananel, the 15th Terrell, the 16th Semapazel, the 17th Jetrel, the 18th Tumael, the 19th Terrell, the 20th Rumel, the 21st Azazel, and these are the chiefs of their angels and their names. And their chief ones over hundreds and over 50s and over 10. So I guess this is the army of the fallen angels. The name of the first is Jaquan. That's what I'm talking about. That is the one who led astray all the sons of God and brought them down to the earth and led them astray through the daughters of men. Okay, so I guess he's supposed to be the captain angel that decided that we're going to go out there and have sex with the women on the earth. That's what this Enoch is going to. And the second was named Asbel. Okay. He imparted to the holy sons of God evil counsel. And when they say the sons of God, they're talking about the angels. And led them astray so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. So this is that fallen angel have sex with women spirit that we went into in the first two volumes. And the third was named Gabriel. This is it. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death. And he led astray Eve and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men. I think that was Tubal-Cain. Wasn't it Tubal-Cain that decided with the first instruments of warfare and death? Tubal-Cain? Wasn't that him according to the scripture? That's irrelevant right now. I want to get to this part. When it said Gadriel, it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death, this part. And he led astray Eve. According to the Bible, according to the R.H. Charles version of Enoch, it says an angel by the name of Gadriel was the one that led Eve astray. That's what it says. It was his fault that caused us. He was the same angel that stepped to Eve in the garden to make her go astray, which led to Adam going astray, which caused the fall of man through sin unto death. That's what this R.H. Charles version of Enoch, which I think is one of the most common books of Enoch that's out there, because a lot of men are running with this doctrine. And I just read it where they started naming all the angels that came down and had alleged sex before these women and their captains and all that. They decided, let's go do this from the councils up in the heaven. And one of them same angels that was involved in that, according to the alleged affairs of that, was the same angel that led Eve astray, okay, in the Garden of Eden. Okay, that's what that teaches. So I made a video, Genesis, the 3rd chapter, on this channel. Me and a brother Marshall, we went into the Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Okay, so for further information concerning the serpent, you could just go into the video that the brother Marshall and I did last winter, Genesis, the 3rd chapter. I didn't go the complete whole chapter. I just mainly dealt with the Eve and the serpent. Mainly I focused on the serpent, the understanding of the parables of it, the curses that came upon. I think I went into that. But if you want me to go more in depth with it after watching that video, then just email me and my brother Marshall and I, Lord's willing, or myself. Okay, we'll go into it. But it's just that that kind of like puzzles me when they state that this Gadriel was the one that led Eve astray. Okay, and let's just go into Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Okay, let's get to that encounter, that affair that occurred, that this alleged book of Enoch, according, I guess Enoch is the one that's bringing this out. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh the powers had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Okay. And it says, and the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For the Yahweh knoweth, or the powers of Elohim knoweth, that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Okay. That was, I guess, the encounter that Enoch in this book was talking about, the R.H. Charles version, okay, which is a little different, I guess, from the Ethiopian Enoch. And he was basically stating that it was this angel Gadriel that was responsible for leading Eve astray. And we read the scriptures spoke about the serpent. Spoke about the serpent. So I'm going to drop down to verse 13. And the Lord power said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Like I said, I went into that, I believe, Genesis, the 3rd chapter. So it said, The serpent beguiled me and did eat. So now, according to this, the R.H. Charles version of Book of Enoch, chapter 69, when it speaks about Gadriel, G-A-D-R-E-E-L, Gadriel, he it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death. I thought that was Tubal-Cain, but and he led astray Eve and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail and the sword of battle and all the weapons 7 of death to the children of men. But it said that he led astray Eve. I could swear Tubal-Cain was the ones that made the weapons. Tubal-Cain, do that research. It wasn't an angel. It was a man. Okay. And it said that Gabriel, he led astray Eve. That's what it says. So we're going to go to 2 Corinthians 11:3 in the New Testament. Let's get what our brother Paul had to say about that. Okay. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. So Paul's bringing out the understanding, according to the Torah, the book of Moses, that it was a serpent that beguiled Eve. It was a serpent that beguiled Eve. Okay? Remember, I said there was a serpent. Now, like I said, I went into exactly about that serpent in the Genesis 3 video I did with the brother Marshall last winter. But according to the book of Enoch, the R.H. Charles version, chapter 69, it says, Gabriel, and he led astray Eve. Gabriel. So now, the R.H. Charles version of Enoch is stating that Gabriel is the serpent that led Eve astray, but it didn't say serpent, though. It just said Gabriel was that angel that led Eve astray. So, we're just going to go in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, and it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent. Why did it say old serpent? Because it's the same serpent, spirit, that was back there in the Garden of Eden that deceived Eve. Okay? And it says that old serpent called the devil and Satan. Not Gabriel, Satan. Which deceiveth the whole world. So just like he deceived Eve, Satan has his influence upon his whole entire world right now, deceiving anybody that he could devour in his path of lies and antichrist and anything against the word of the Lord. Satan is all up in it, as well as afflicting and bringing tribulation upon the men of the Lord through the nigger woman, as well as your own nation, as well as amongst the wicked amongst the Gentiles. And it says, which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So basically, this is dealing with the fall of Satan's power. When they say Satan was cast out, meaning that Satan's power and influence will no longer be prevalent. It would be cast out, meaning that his rulership, his power, and his authority will be destroyed. Okay? And it didn't say nothing about Gabriel. It said Satan was that serpent. Satan was that serpent. We read in Revelation 12. But the R.H. Charles version of Enoch said, Gabriel, he it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death. He is the one that led Eve astray. That's what it said. Okay? So now, we got that out the way, because that's what it says, man. It says he is all that led he led Eve astray. Okay, let me try to see if I find that scripture on Tubal Cain. Could swore it was him. Okay, shoot. Okay. This is Genesis 4, verse 22. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. So basically all the weapons created through, because in ancient times, weapons were created through brass and iron. And he was an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. Okay. But it says here, Gabriel, okay, he is he who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led Eve astray, and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to destruction of men. And from his hand they proceeded against those who dwell on the earth, them that day, from that day and forevermore. What is the hell this is going into, man? Unbelievable. Where is this in the scriptures, man? It names all these angels that had did all this stuff unto men. But that cannot be found or validated or substantiated in the Holy Bible. The serpent was Satan, not Jadriel or Gadriel. Okay, so we're going to go to Psalms 119, verse 60. And it says, let me see, yeah. I made haste and delayed not to keep my commandment and keep thy commandments. All right. Is this 119, 60? Yeah. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. So we already understand we have to keep the commandments of the Lord. So with that in mind, let's go to St. John 17:17. Okay. Let me see here. St. John chapter 17, verse 17. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So the word is the truth. The commandments is truth. And I see no truth in this Enoch, man. just be frank with you. I don't see truth in that. Based upon what I'm reading, based upon the scripts I'm pulling out, freestyling the cut them, and this is something that men have been running with. So these are just three examples of going into your book of Enoch. I'm pretty sure I could find more, if I really wanted to. But I just wanted to stay, because I told brothers, subscribers, I'm going to go into the book of Enoch, and I did. All right. And I brought in 2 examples to show how the book of Enoch is off. So maybe one of you out there can explain that to me. How you got one angel named Phanuel that's supposed to be the God and light of repentance, whereas the Bible tells you it's Christ. And then you got another angel that supposedly led all men astray and deceived Eve, named Gabriel, when the Bible tells you that was Satan. So now certain men got to come up with those explanations to me. But let's go into Jude verse 6, because misunderstanding of what the Jude was going into, and concerning this particular verse. And it says, verse 6, and the angels who kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he have reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. All right. So now men are trying to say that those are those fallen angels, okay, that existed during the time of the Torah Genesis account, where allegedly angels came down from heaven and had sexual relations and intercourse with women on this earth, and that through that process of evil and intermingling caused sin, death, escalation of wickedness that brought forth the flood into this earth. So they get to understanding, like I dealt with in the first video I did concerning angels having sex with women, ? In this particular verse here, all right, these angels, all right, are dealing with men. Just like when you go into what we just read in Genesis, where the serpent told Eve that you will become like as gods, or you will become gods, knowing good and evil. So the same title phrase was to be put upon the fact of the angels. Just like the Lord said, we're gods. All right, but we're not gods in the sense that we're immortals. Although in the kingdom of heaven, the children of Israel will be like unto immortals, living probably at least 1,000 years better or more per person. But in the retrospect that, knowing good from evil is exactly the image that the Lord created man in the very beginning, to have the knowledge of good and evil, in which the children of men chose evil, and the children of Adam, the sons of God, was blessed with the breath of life, the tree of knowledge of life. Whereas the other nations and the dark nations, or the ones outside of the sons of God, was given the knowledge of the tree of life of good and evil. And the Lord told the sons of men, sons of God, don't deal with that. Because by them doing that, there will know evil. So therefore, they will delight in doing evil, and therefore they will become evil themselves. So let's go to 2 Samuel 14:17. I pull these same scriptures out. Okay, in the older video that I did. Okay. This is 2 Samuel chapter 14, verse 17. And it says, then thine handmaid said, the word of my Lord the king shall now be comfortable. For as an angel of God, so is my Lord the king to discern good and bad. Therefore the Lord thy power shall be with thee. So angels that know how to do good and bad, okay, that's referring to so-called mankind in general. The ones that knew good, referring to the ones that was given the understanding, like when we read Deuteronomy 30th chapter, represents the children of Israel. And during the time before the flood, it was dealing mainly with the children of men and the sons of God. The intermingling of sin, which caused a flood to bring down the earth, was because of the knowledge of good and evil, in which, like it says in Jeremiah 8:3, death should be chosen rather than life, because evil seems to be something that people will prefer to do because it feels good, it's taboo, it's something that they want to be indulged with rather than good, which appears to be boring, plain, okay? And people prefer to do evil more than good. So likewise, when that choice is presented before the bulk or the majority, they would choose evil rather than doing well, which is good, which is to keep it on the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of your ability. So going back to Jude verse 6 to get more so of an understanding of what Jude was going into. Okay? Because after they got the understanding of what Jude was referring to, the Lord put the spirit in men to canonize the book of Jude in the Bible, because there was a question mark whether it should have been put in because of certain misunderstandings of scriptures as this, and the quotation that came from the alleged book of Enoch, which there was no book of Enoch written at that time, but rather a manuscript that was written by man, a manuscript that existed around that time period. You understand? That Jude quoted from. You understand? But once the understanding was given, then that's when they realized, let's leave the book of Jude in there. Okay, let's leave it in there as it's validated and substantiated as the book of Moses, Daniel, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and other men of the Lord, which was trying to bring out Christ and the word of the Lord. Now I'm going to read it. And the angels which kept not their first estate. Now, what was their first estate? Hold that. Let's get Psalms 91 verse 8. Or their habitation. What is the first estate or our habitation? All right, Psalms 91 verse 8. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. All right, right, because that's why he's reserving for the day of judgment, like he's talking about in the book of Jude. And it says, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. So we make the Most High our habitation by dwelling and dealing with the knowledge of good and dealing with the Most High. When Israelites and the men of the Lord, not the men of the Lord, but when Israelites and the children of men left that knowledge, then that's when the Lord reserved them for the day of judgment. And that's what a lot of our people, mainly the 2/3 and the wicked amongst the Gentiles, that's what they're reserved for. They're reserved for the day of judgment. Okay, because of the fact that they left the truth or the estate of the Bible. They have not made the word of the Lord their habitation. All right. Even going back to the amongst the Gentiles in Romans 11. That's why they're cut off, because they didn't make the word of the Lord their habitation. That's why they must fall like we fell as a nation of people. All right. And when you go into the Greek word, it's arche, which means beginning. So it's the habitation is dealing with back in the beginning with Genesis, with the fall of man. You understand? And that goes into what we originally spoke about in the video concerning what? Concerning how it was not angels that came down from heaven that have sex with women on earth, because they don't speak of nobody coming down anywhere in the Torah. But it was rather something that was being done on earth with the populace, with one group dealing with and intermingling amongst another group, females from amongst another group that the Lord has created, pagan group. The females came from the children of men group, which had the knowledge of good and evil. Then the sons of God came from the group of Torah, having the knowledge and the tree of life, which if Adam and Eve fell because they were seduced by the serpent, likewise Satan already knew what he had to do to get the rest of the seed of Adam. Use women, okay, to deceive him. And those women was from amongst the children of men, okay, that was going astray. They were fair and beautiful. That's what Satan utilizes. That's why the Bible tells you, keep thine eye away from a beautiful woman. That's what Satan utilizes to draw you in. And that's what he did with the sons of God. And once they became corrupted, the Lord said it repented him that he made man to begin with. Because here it is, the children of men became corrupted on their own recognizance. Then we got the sons of God that were seduced by the children of men, starting with Satan's seduction. Then the women seduction with the sons of God. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Once again, like I read in the first video. Okay. So this is what was going on, man. And the book of Enoch don't really speak of this. This is Torah. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. So he became a living soul with the breath of life. That means that the Lord indoctrinated him through the pureness of his word, through the tree of life, which is the only tree that Adam and his descendants were allowed to eat from, meaning to study and get the knowledge. All right. And because they didn't do that, because they were led astray first by Satan, and then later on through his descendants, many from amongst the females of the children of men that were seduced already. Verse 9. And out of the ground made the Lord Yahweh to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So there's two trees. There's a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then there's a tree of life. Now, these are not actual trees. The first part of it was talking about actual trees, but when it speaks about, Satan trying to make me tired. When it speaks about the tree of knowledge in this particular verse, and of good and evil rather, and then the tree of life, this is dealing with knowledge in itself, being that tree. Okay, being that tree. Okay, it's not dealing with a natural tree anymore once you get the understanding. All right. So you drop down to verse 15. And the Lord Yahweh took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Meaning what? When the Most High gave the breath of the life and knowledge of understanding unto Adam, he was to have dominion, and he was supposed to basically rule his territory and keep it. Meaning what? Meaning rule according to the word of the Lord. He was supposed to dress it and keep it, meaning maintain, manage, overshadow, have dominion over it for the Most High Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? And it said, verse 18. Verse 16, right? And it said, and the Lord powers commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. So that's all my actual fruits coming from the trees. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Eat of it means to go into it. Like it talks about in Revelation 10 about the little book, how you're supposed to eat it, means study it. It was in our mouth. It was in our mouth, sweet as honey, but it was in our stomachs, bitter. All right? Meaning that, yeah, for us to read, to get the understanding, for us to get wisdom, knowledge, understanding feels good. But then there's a dark side to that, which means that you got to go through the curses, man. All right? Because just because you have wisdom, knowledge, understanding does not alleviate you from a lot of these curses and a lot of the hardships that we got to go through before we exit this captivity and exit out of this so-called diaspora. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get the hell out of here. We have to free ourselves. We have to free ourselves from the knowledge of good and evil and only mainly deal with the tree of life, which is a tree of good, which is the word of the Lord in its entirety. That's what Adam was supposed to do amongst his nation. But he didn't do that. So go back to Jude verse 6. All right. So once you get to understanding what Jude was talking about, then you get more sort of understanding of what it's all about. See, they didn't really get the understanding back in ancient times until the Lord revealed it to them. The Lord revealed it unto them at the last time due to the fact that they was thinking about keeping the book of Jude out the canonized Bible. Okay, it's a short chapter. It's like 25 verses. Verses 1 through 25 exactly. And it was saying some stuff that some would consider to be pagan. All right, so Jude verse 6, and the angels which kept not their first estate, meaning the Israelites and the men of the Lord, or the children of men that didn't deal with the knowledge of good, but left their own habitation, meaning they left the truth. They left the understanding of the word of the Lord, which was given unto them. He hath reserved the everlasting chains and the darkness. See, that's why the Lord is going to judge you. Most likely going to judge you for your sin. He's going to judge you for your sin and your disobedience constantly without no form of repentance toward his word. That's what will cause the Lord to bring the hammer down on you, man. Okay, hold on. Give me Colossians chapter 1, verse 10 to prove that. concerning the chains of darkness. Darkness, rather. Okay, Colossians chapter 1, verse 10. That ye might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good works, and increasing in the knowledge of Yahweh, strengthened with all might, according to his gospel, glorious power, unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness. Verse 12, giving thanks unto the Father which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints and of light, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. So those that don't believe in Yahweh Shah, those that are not trying to get right, they're reserved to remain in darkness, like gross darkness to people. They're not of the elect. In other words, Jude 6 is going to the condemnation of those which are not of the elect, that knew of the truth, but set it for naught, which is their habitation. So you could guess as many dealing with Israel. Or basically the 2/3 amongst our nation that are condemned. And no matter how many scriptures you show them, no matter what you do to try to wake them up, they're not going to take heed to the word of the Lord. Those are the 2/3. So 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 9. And it says right here, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 9. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness. For by strength shall no man prevail. So the Lord already spoke about the wicked being silenced in darkness. So basically, the wicked, that's why the Lord said in Jude 6, Jude said they've been reserved into darkness. There's silence. A lot of times that means when they die too. And the time that when they die, they remain still while their corpse rots. And then when St. John's 5 come into play, where the Lord is going to sound with the trump, like it tells you in 1 Thessalonians 4:17, there's going to be a resurrection of the dead. And then that's when they're going to hear their judgment furthermore and be condemned in that lake of fire. Whereas, right now, they're kept away in silence. In other words, the Lord's not even considering them. They're already going to do what they want to do until the day the Lord decides to judge them. Right? And this is Job 15 and 30. Verse 20. To furthermore prove that. Slack about the yawning. I don't know. Satan trying to get me to shut down. I got enough sleep. Not sure they know I got like 4 or 5 hours. I woke up this early this morning with my children. Get them ready. Help get them ready for school. Let's get into Job chapter 15, verse 20. And it says right here, the wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden by the oppressor. So we don't know when we're going to get out of this captivity. Oh, man. So it says, the wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. All right, so the Lord's going to get back those of them that do us wrong. The Lord's going to get back those that are wicked and evil. So it says, a dreadful sound is in his ears. Because see, when we go out there and teach the word of the Lord, they don't want to hear it because we're teaching against their kingdom. We're bringing out their judgment. So the word of the Lord becomes like a dreadful sound, man. All right. But the Lord said he's going to be in pain all his days. Right. And the number of his years, meaning, is hidden. All right. Meaning the amount of time that he has to rule. So then it says, a dreadful sound is in his ears, and prosperity the destroyer shall come upon him. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Right, because you just said it about how, the wicked are reserved for the day of darkness. Okay. Okay. Trouble, anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. For he stretcheth out his hand against God, and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He runneth upon him even on his neck, upon the maketh collops of fat on his flanks. And he dwelleth in the desolate cities, and in the house which no man inhabiteth, which are ready to become heaps. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth. So the Lord is basically dealing with the judgment upon them. He shall not depart out of darkness. So, because right, the Lord says he's reserved for it. He's going to remain there. Right. The flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. So the Romans 11 concept of the branches, the Lord says he's going to, because the branches represents the Israelites, you understand? And the Gentiles that basically came amongst Israelite churches, okay, that accepted or wanted to know more about Christ, and they didn't want to worship the pagan gods of Rome. They wanted just a one God monotheism type of idea. You understand? They joined into our churches and became our servants within those churches, okay, and learned Christ to us, which was one of the points of the New Testament, was to furthermore bring out the truth through Christ instead of Moses unto Israel to subdue the nations with the word of the Lord, and to try to clear up the earth from all paganism and wickedness and corruptness that the so-called white race and these other nations in bulk general were doing and have done at that time, okay, with their polytheism or their many gods. So it says right here, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let not him that is deceived with trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. You know what I'm saying? So that's his payback. Whatever you sow, what you reap. So however you dealt with the word of the Lord, that's how the Lord is going to deal with you. And that's exactly what Jude was going into, man. Because these people are not going to wake up. So the Lord's not concerned with them. You know, their judgment has already been sealed. So we're going to go back to Jude verse 6. Their judgment has already been sealed. And there's nothing that you or him or we could do about it. All right. So Jude verse 6 again. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitations, he have reserved an everlasting chains of the darkness into the judgment of the great day. Right, which is the day of the Lord. The Lord said the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Okay, give me Matthew chapter 25 verse 41. This is a doctrine that certain men would like to bring out. All right, we're gonna go a few bits longer with that. I got enough material to make a volume 4. So for the brother subscriber out there that wish to make me another, or wish for me to make another volume, I could do that. Okay, we could go all up in this book of Enoch, man. Okay, so let's go to Matthew chapter 25 verse 41. It says, then shall he say unto them in the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. So they try to link Jude 6 with that, stating that the devil and his angels represent them fallen angels. Okay, them fallen angels that did their wickedness and evil, and that how the Lord is going to bring judgment upon them because of that. All right, that's what these men are saying. But they don't have no understanding. So they don't have the understanding of what that was going into. So let's give it to them. So who are the devil and the angels? The devil and the angels represent the wicked. That's the bottom line to it all. That was just another way of speaking of the wicked. Remember, you know, hey, they say Christ had the devil in him. You know, remember, Christ called Judas a devil. You know, Christ said in St. John's 8, ye of your father the devil. So the devil and his angels, the angels are the followers of the devil. It's not talking about literal tent. All right. It's talking about the wicked. And there's many amongst the Gentiles, the actual Gentiles. All right. Let's go into Matthew 25:31. Let's further prove that. Okay. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations. So they didn't say he was going to be gathering angels and gathering spirits. It says all nations. Okay, these are men. Okay, that will be gathered. Okay, and it says and before him shall be gathered all nations, right? And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. Christ is a good shepherd. The sheep represent the 12 tribes of Israel. The goats represents the other nations, and it represents the wicked of our nation, because they're not Israel neither. Like Paul said, not all Israel is Israel. Okay? So now, it states that verse 33, and he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. But the point is dealing with nations. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, which is Israel, the elect, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world, which is Acts 1 and 6, the kingdom of Israel. For I was an hunger, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. So that's referring to the good that we must do, and a charity we must do amongst our nation. It's very high importance with Christ. All right. Verse 36, naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. So you doing good for the brothers is very highly esteemed in the eyes and sight of the Most High. Men cannot underestimate enough or overestimate enough. Matter of fact, no, underestimate enough how the Most High really loves alms and charity amongst your nation. All right, he really likes it when fellow Israelite brothers help each other out. Okay, the Lord said if you do that, you can hide a multitude of sins. Certain things that you're doing that's off, the Lord can forgive you for just on charity alone, being there for brothers in a time of their need and affliction. Verse 37, then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? So they had to, they was asking him, well, Lord, when do we ever see you this? Now remember, this is talking about men, the nations, all right, which is of Israel, the ones on the right, are speaking here. This is just a parable. Not saying we really want to say this, but Christ is giving a parable of understanding of who's going to be delivered and saved for the kingdom. So then it says, verse 39, or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? Verse 40, and the king shall answer and say unto them, okay, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall ye say unto them on the left hand. So remember, this is all nations. This is not spirits he's gathering. Okay. Depart from me, ye cursed, which is mainly Esau, the so-called white race. Okay. Because they're cursed. All right. And into everlasting fire. Prepare for the devil and his angels. When you read Revelation, the 12th chapter, when you go into, like I did it, Brother Marshall and I, we did the video on Revelation 12, and the red dragon is referring to the Edomite nation. Understand, the whole freaking nation with their false identities, which is their heads. The 7 heads are the 7 main false identities that they had at one time period or another in history. All right? But they're all same nation. And the Lord said they cursed into everlasting fire, man. All right? And the Lord referred to that dragon as the devil as well. You understand? But that devil is not a literal spiritual being. It was an actual nation of people, like we dealing with right here in Matthew 25, of a nation of people who the Lord said for him to depart, curse, set aside for the devil and his angels. That's what the Lord compared them. He called them devil and their angels, meaning their followers. And it said, prepare for the devil and his angels. So if it's prepared for the devil and his angels, meaning the spiritual Satan and spiritual angels, then why is Christ trying to put them in there? It wasn't prepared for them. So why is Christ trying to put them in there? Because the devil and angels was them. Okay. For I was a hunger and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you took me not in naked. And you clothed me not, sick and in prison, but ye visited me not. Then he asked a stupid question. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger or thirst or a stranger or naked, or sick, or in person, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it to not one of the least of these, you did it not to me. So that's for the Gentiles, like it tells you in Revelation 11, they suffer not their body to be put in graves, man. So the bulk of the Gentiles are pretty much condemned. The only ones that's going to be saved are the ones who want to walk into our light and build up our kingdom and be our servants and be subject unto us forever. That's the only ones who the Lord will have mercy on and deliver them out of this destruction that's coming throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Because our kingdom needs slaves. It can't destroy all these nations, because who's going to build up our kingdom? Who's going to serve us? How are we going to repay back the nations? How are we not going to have the feeling of getting back the so-called white race like they did to our nation during the time of slavery? Now, then shall he answer them, saying, well, I read that. Verse 40 says, and these shall go away into everlasting punishment. So that's many talking about Esau, because he's the only one that's condemned in the Bible as far as for everlasting All right. But the righteous into life eternal, which is referring to the elect and also amongst the Gentiles, okay, that wish to cleave unto us and become our servants, right along with our concubines, which we will have, okay, in these last days and in that day. And they're going to put aside their gods, and they're going to be like Ruth and want to follow God of Israel as our humble servants. And we want to let them, okay, because that's the RCM, ruler class mentality, is for us to have our servants. And if men are not down with that program, then you need to re-examine yourself. All right, the kingdom of heaven is not about butterflies, man. All right, so with that, hopefully the subscriber got the understanding of the volume 3. I went into the book of Enoch a little bit, went into Jude. If I do a volume 4, if your brothers would like me to, it'll go into the giants of Genesis 6. Just diabolically cutting the hell out of this book of Enoch. I'm tired of this book of Enoch, man. It's about like, this the virgin curse doctrine. The book of Enoch is like right here, man, as far as non-tolerance of it, man. All right. So with that, I say shalom, which means peace. But like the scripture said, there is no peace save God unto the wicked.